Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll.
Good evening, folks. Bewitching. I'm just doing a few tests. Bewitching in 1 minute now, guys.
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll. And that is why she satisfies my soul. Got the one and only walking, talking, living doll. Take a look at her hair, it's real and don't believe I say, just feel. Lock her up in a trunk, so no big hunk can steal her away from me. Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll. Got her own eye and that is why she satisfies my soul. Got the one and only walking, talking, living doll.
Alright, folks, you ready?
Look at her hair, it's real and don't believe what I say, just feel. Lock her up in a trunk, so no big hunk can steal her away from me. Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll. Got her over high and that is why she satisfies my soul. Got the one and only walking, talking, living doll.
Okay, folks, we are back. Just going to turn around the camera and we need to get into this one straight away. We've enough to do. We've about an hour, under an hour to get this done. Hopefully it mightn't even take that long. Around the camera and explain why we are doing a live stream today. And we weren't supposed to do it. We're supposed to keep all this quiet. So let's turn this down. Turn it around. Let's turn it around. Come on, turn around, you devil. So why are we here today? We're just going to try and get everything sorted here, fix everything up, and let's clean this lens here so you can see me. Why are we here today? Well, after last night's paranormal investigation, let's get out here to the sunshine. So after last night's paranormal investigation in relation to the Miami show band, you hear me all? Can you all hear me all clear? Yeah. So in relation to the Miami show band, we were there last night, and we did a live stream in relation to the Miami show band, and I thought we did actually a wonderful job in relation to the Miami show band. Now, if you're a regular viewer to our channel, you know why I'm here, and one of the reasons why I'm here is going to fix everything up. Is Ava was sick last night. And I was at home. I was up all night to about 20 to 4 in the morning. Ava had massive high temperatures, and I let Caroline go to bed because Caroline was wrecked. So I stayed up all night to about 20 to 4, and I was just nosing through Caroline's phone, and I seen a message from one of our moderators named. So hello, Anne. You're probably watching now. And in relation to Anne-Marie's, Samantha from Life After Life TV sent a request that Philip and Caroline might like this link. So I watched the link, and I didn't watch it once, I didn't watch it twice, I didn't watch it 3 times. I watched it about 10 times last night. And I studied this link in relation to this medium woman who came to this location here, in relation to Captain Nairac. So I watched it, and I really, really studied in what this lady did. It was quite fantastic. Do you agree, Anne? She says it was fantastic. It was fascinating, she says. It was very, very fascinating indeed. So, I follow the story of Captain Nairac now for a while in our live investigation in relation to Ravensdale's Wood. And that's why we continued on the story with the Miami show band. Now, I was going to do no more lives until we go to Greece, and we were going to do another one. But after watching this link, after Samantha from Life After Life TV sent to Anne Reid sent it to me. She said it might be quite interesting. So I did watch it. So I forget her name, the lady in question. She may be even watching this now in relation to Captain Nairac. I do have 2 big questions in relation to it. I'm going to have to clean the lens off this camera here because it looks very dirty. I do have 2 inquiries in relation to your video. We've done loads and loads of paranormal investigations, and we never really studied too hard on Captain Nairac. Captain Nairac was a British soldier. He was a captain of the British Army. And the lady in question, if you're watching this, you probably don't like what I'm going to say in relation to this. But in relation to your story, you had a quite fascinating log that we did watch. And as you know, I've done a lot of research in relation to Captain Nairac as well, and I know quite what he did. And you probably don't like what I'm going to say next, but he was an evil, evil man indeed. And yes, Captain Nairac, named as Robert, I did watch your video. Remember now, I did watch your video, and I did hear what you had to say, and I did watch it. And yes, he was at this bridge here. And I actually thought it was the Far Bridge, and I actually thought it was the Far Bridge over there. But I'm going to tell you one thing: if the lady in question is watching this, she's a medium lady, and she was able to see Captain Nairac, and she was able to. She had a wasp landed on top of me. I'm using my phone, so I can't get. So I'm not ignoring chat. So I did watch your investigation, and I do understand that you are a medium woman, and you have more powers than I have. I am just a paranormal investigator going out to research and doing evidence and doing research, and we use our equipment. But this lady doesn't use any equipment. She has it. The spirits are supposed to be able to communicate her, a bit like Colin Fry and a bit like Paranormal X. And she's able to pick up, and she's picked up on this bridge that this is where Captain Nairac was murdered. Now, I believe you're 100% right that this is the bridge where he was murdered. Now, I actually thought it was the bridges, the far side, and I actually, what I'm going to tell you, and Caroline and Gilligan that are watching now, is that I bumped into a man. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm not going to get too much into it. But I bumped into a man. He was about 70. He's more than 70. This lad is in his 80s. And he's up in Ravensdale Wood at the moment, tidying it up at the moment. And I asked him about the bridge. He didn't say anything about it. He kept very, very quiet. And I told him about the story about this new woman that came up with the new history. And so that was the story. But I'm just going to show you the bridge here. And I did talk to the man a few minutes ago. I just want to talk to this lady in case you didn't know who I am. I'm just going to go live for a second. How are you doing? I won't be too long here, just about 5 minutes. Yeah, I just won't be long. I'm just live on television here, so I just keep it back just in case you don't want to go on television. If you want to go on television, just know. Alright, that's it. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
So I'm in your property at the moment, but what I'm doing
You're very welcome.
But I'm just on the old road here. This is the old road here, linking on.
It did.
But I just want to see, we're a paranormal investigating team.
Oh, fabulous.
And my name is Philip, and my partner wife, she's on chat, she's a home minding the kids.
Yes, hello.
So I know the history of Ravensdale Wood.
Yes.
I know quite well. I know a lot of history about
fantastic.
it. But there's a medium woman came from a different part of the country.
Yes.
3 days ago.
Yes.
It could be 3 weeks ago. And in relation to Captain Nairac. Right? When I mention Captain Nairac, some people have different thoughts, but in my thoughts he was a very evil man. Okay,
Right.
very evil, right?
I'd be agreeing with
Yeah.
you there.
I'm just after doing a live show last night.
Yes,
Weren't supposed to do any more live shows because
Yes.
myself and my partner are going to Greece
yes.
in 2 days. And what I want to do is I want to shut all our live links down because something was brought to our attention in relation to Captain Nairac.
Right.
I wanted to come out here in your property. I won't belong, just at the bridge. But Captain Nairac was an evil, you know what I'm going to say? He was
Yes.
very, very evil, and he was the cause of giving the orders of the Miami show band's massacre.
Really?
Yes, 100%, because
Really?
2 of the survivors of the Miami show band
Yeah.
were
Do you know
there.
where he was found? Do you want to see where he was found?
I'm just about to head that direction.
You know
here.
where it is?
Yeah, and
Right.
has his body been dug up yet? Do you know?
No, but what wasn't he found down there? Was he not found down there?
No, we're going to let you stand there, and I'm going to give you some new evidence
Right.
that's come true.
Right.
What I want to go do is, Captain Nairac, this is the bridge
Yes.
that he was brought here,
Yes.
and the battered the daylight him to get the information what he's done. But
Right.
Captain Nairac did so much bad things in
Right.
Ireland. He shot,
Yes.
he ruined so many people's lives.
Right.
But they didn't have to do what they did to the Miami show band.
Oh no, that was a
They were,
terrible,
what he did to the Miami show band, he was given, Captain Nairac, known as Robert, was given direct orders
Right.
to implant a bomb in the Miami show bands and put the bomb underneath the seat.
Really?
He was given the orders to do it.
Yes.
So when the Miami show band in 1975 were coming home from Banbridge from their show band music,
Yes.
and there was a checkpoint,
Yes.
and they asked the show band to pull into one side of the road. I don't know if
That's
did you
right.
ever watch it?
Yes.
But Captain Nairac, known as Robert, did give the orders that day. He was
Right.
present on the night.
Was he?
He didn't plant the bomb, he didn't plant the guns, but he gave direct orders to the soldiers to do it. But it
My
backfired on him.
God.
It was a big plan. It backfired on him. When they closed the door, the bomb blew up,
Yeah.
and the impact of the bomb
Yes.
threw 2 of the surviving of the Miami show band,
Yeah.
threw them into the field next door.
Yes.
So when the bomb blew up
Yes.
at this location, the Miami show band, the 2 survivors were in the. They were thinking, "How are we going to survive this?"
Yeah.
So-
That's right.
so-
Pretended to be dead.
So,
didn't
so
it?
what they did, they pretended to be dead, but they
Yeah.
called out on the band members. They didn't get any response, only bare 2.
Yeah.
There was a young lad called Robert. He was an apprentice for the Miami show band. He was only 19 years of age at the time.
My God.
The lead singer for the Miami show band was there as well. He did survive it
Yes.
until Captain Nairac came back into the scene.
Right.
He said, "Leave nobody standing. Shoot everybody on sight. Kill everything. Leave nothing standing."
Oh my God.
And the reason how they know it was this man called Captain Nairac because the 2 survivors were there in the field playing dead, and
Right.
they seen. So that was their story.
They
So that's how.
actually seen him.
Well, they won't admit it, but it is him.
Did they identify him like?
Well, there's no other way they're going to Captain Nairac and bring him up here to Ravens and say, "Well, kill him for no reason."
No.
So these 2 survivors, when there was one lad badly shot, and he said, "Play dead,"
Yes.
like the Japanese film, and the fire was coming over the hedges and the bushes were all on fire and everything.
Yeah.
And he said that we're going to play dead. So he called out on a few of the members, and he knew he got no response. Bare 1.
Yes.
And this young lad was Ross. He was 19 years of age. He was calling, screaming out for his mammy.
Of course
He was screaming out for his mammy, mammy,
I've
mammy,
a
mammy.
19-year-old in there, and what
Yeah.
would he be doing? Only screaming
Yeah.
for his mother.
So he's screaming for his mammy. But Captain
Yes.
Nairac, the British soldier, at the time came in on the scene. He says, "Leave nobody standing." They shot him dead.
Right.
So they moved on to the next one. He was the lead singer of the Miami show band. He was actually a good-looking chap.
Yeah.
And they said to him, "Stand there," and they shot him 21 times in the face. Not once, but they shot him 21 times in the face. And the people of Ireland and all over the world are starting to forget about this story. But the 2 surviving members of the Miami show band want this story to continue because the British Army and the people who were involved in planting that bomb in the Miami show band tried to make out that they were terrorists, but it
Yes.
backfired them because the bomb blew up in the location.
Yes.
But thank be to God there was 2 survivors of the Miami show band
To tell the tale.
to tell the tale.
Yeah.
So when I was at home, I did my own Miami show band story, and I said to Karen, "That is it. We'll take a break and we'll wait till the nights go long. We'll go back to Ravensdale because there's a
Yeah.
load of history in that place
What
up
a
there."
day to pick to come up. It's beautiful.
So I promised herself that I wouldn't be long at it.
You better not. You better
No,
get the
she'll kill me.
suitcase packed.
She'll kill me. But what I was going to say to you is, a medium woman,
Yeah.
recently came here about 3 weeks ago.
I'm so
And
interested
so
in this.
It's live on YouTube, but I watched
Yes.
it. We have a moderator here called Anne Reid. She's one of
Yes.
our moderators. If you don't know what a moderator is,
No.
when we go live on television, which we're live now,
Right.
and we have
Hello, everyone.
and we have moderators,
Yes.
and all our moderators are here to watch it, just in case you get leprechauns or food. You know, in Ireland they put the Mickey.
I've seen them.
So
God,
so
a lot of leprechauns.
these moderators, if there's somebody coming in chat and being smart and acting the
Yes.
food, they get rid of them. So they won't get the
straight
chance.
away.
So that's
Right,
why we
yeah.
have moderators.
I see.
So one of our moderators sent me a message last night. I was up last night with Ava. Ava was very sick. She had a high
Yes.
temperature.
Right.
And she sent me a message from a lady called Samantha. She's another paranormal investigator, Life After Life TV.
Yes.
And it says there's a new link up on YouTube where a medium woman came to the Ravensdale Wood, to this bridge.
Yes.
And she stood on this bridge and she was able to contact with Robert, known as Captain Nairac.
Really?
And there was a priest involved. There was 4 men involved plus a priest. They even brought a priest. They even dressed up one of them as a priest to see with Captain Nairac and admit to his
Is
crimes.
that long ago?
3 weeks ago.
Right.
So so she was able to contact with Captain Nairac here
Yes.
in this bridge, and Captain Nairac says that he was beaten to a pulp.
Right.
He was battered, and she was able to say a few stories here, and this is where Captain Nairac was killed. Once they shot him in the head, right on this bridge.
Really?
But she was able to communicate with Captain Nairac in relation that he was buried in 3 different places
Really?
in here in this location. I was trying to show you one. If you okay for a minute to come past the bridge? So it's going to turn around. I won't show them at the site yet. So what it says, Captain Nairac was he was able to speak to this medium woman and said he was shot here on the head here in this location. This is where he died.
Yes.
He did escape once or twice
Yes.
in the capture, but
Yes.
he knew that he met his maker, and this is where the 3 or 4 lads
Yeah.
did kill him here on this bridge.
Right.
But there's a house here where I'm going to tell you where she pointed to, and you might tell me the story of this house here up here in the corner.
I'd like to know a story I know about that.
She's
house.
this medium woman says that the people that were involved in that house here were part of the IRA. Now that looks like a fresh house to me. That doesn't look like if it's 30 years old to me. Maybe it is. Maybe you can tell the
I
story.
don't know. I don't know how old that
But anyway,
house is
the
now.
story is that he was built in a farmyard somewhere around here. Possibly it could be these fields here.
Right.
That his body was switched in 2 different locations in this location here.
Right.
So I have a big interest of the paranormal field because myself
Yeah.
and my partner have lost 2 kids in the last couple of years.
I'm so sorry.
we started to interact with it. I lost my parents at a very young age too. We started to get into this more. We don't drink or so
Yeah.
myself and Caroline do go around
You're
it.
very interested in it.
We love it actually
Yes.
because but when she got the spirit of Captain Nairac here, now
Yeah.
no time for this man
No.
for what he did
Yes.
is, but the feeling I get is now that his body is going to be recovered. Now I've done an investigation 3 times up here in Ravensdale Wood,
Yes.
where you have the murder of the 2 boys in the car park
Oh,
who were
yes.
shot in the back of the
I
head.
remember we heard the bullets.
Did you hear the bullets?
Yeah.
And that was in relation to drugs, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, they were
yes.
selling a car and he went back. And you could hear the gunfire from here.
Well, what we could hear was I thought my son had arrived,
Yeah.
but we heard a car door bang. We thought it was car door
Yeah.
bang, but it must have been actually the diesel or petrol tank.
Petrol tank blown up.
Yeah.
But when the 2 boys, I just go roughly run through it, but the history of it, what I know is the 2 boys were shot in the back of the head and he burnt the car. But that man is serving his time now.
I believe
And
he was caught.
he was caught, yeah. He was brought to justice. Now there's before we go back to Captain Nairac, there's a young chap, a young boy was murdered up there back in the 60s. His family were having a picnic in it, and he was playing with his brother and his father. Some man attacked his brother. The child was only in his teenage. He wasn't even in his teenagers.
In for the car park.
In just over the car park
Public area.
to the right hand side. And how I know the story is because I met the brother in question
Yeah.
in another investigation. He said my
I
brother.
don't know if it's tragedy.
He said my brother was murdered in Ravensdale picnic area.
Yeah.
You know, there was no picnic tables there at the time, but he
Right.
says a man came out and bet his brother up to death. So that was one story. Then we had the 2 stories of the boys.
Yeah.
The story of there used to be a big manor here one time belonging
Oh,
to
yeah.
the Ravensdale.
That was up here.
Right, that was up here, right?
That was. Yeah.
Before that time, she had a son. Believe it or not, she
Yes.
had a son.
He
and
was drowned here, was he not?
no, he was shot. He was actually shot. The gamekeeper at the time had traps set out for pheasants and rabbits and all that.
Yeah.
And her only son
Yes.
was up in the Ravensdale Wood
Right.
pinching the rabbits and the fences.
Yeah.
The gamekeeper came out and shot him by an accident and he was shot dead.
I didn't know
So that was her only son that was
I'm
shot.
trying to think what they were called. Claremont.
That's right, and
Yeah.
the house is demolished now.
Yeah, it was born during the uprising.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And her son was actually shot by the gamekeeper.
Right.
The gamekeeper cottage is still located at the moment, and the gamekeeper hung himself in the sitting room of that. And how I know that is because the Walters family were the next generation that took over the gamekeeper's cottage.
Is that the one at the black gate at the very end?
No, this is right in the middle of the woods.
Oh yes, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
We were discussing
Yeah.
with that with friends lately.
Yeah.
We would horse ride up that area.
Yeah.
And the horses wouldn't pass that cottage.
Yeah, the reason why they won't pass the cottage, and I'm going to come to it now in a minute,
Yeah.
is the gamekeeper hung himself in there.
Yeah.
The boy was shot outside it, not too far away from it.
Right.
The Walters family were the next generation that lived in there.
Yes.
He was given the job of planting the trees around it.
Yes.
And there's a black creature roams that wood, believe it or not, known as the devil. That's what they say. He's a half dog, half
I'll
human.
not take a walk at twilight.
He's half dog,
ever again.
half human. That's what he
Right.
reckons. And
Yeah.
Sean Walters has witnessed this coming home. Now, Sean Walter is a lovely man. He's 78 years of age. Lovely,
Right.
lovely man. I had him up there loads of times,
Yeah.
and he told me the history of that place.
Right.
So, and there is actually another old building back in the famine times
Yeah.
where a family were burnt to death in there as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the reason why the horses and that horses, dogs, cats, and all different creatures that will pick up that
Yeah.
before you will.
We were at a dinner there lately one evening, local people, and they were telling me we used to ride up there with the horses.
Yeah, would not. Yeah, that's one of the
really
reasons.
would not
So
pass it.
let's go back to Captain Nairac.
Right.
Can you tell me what you know about this man before I move on?
Very little.
Yeah.
I've read different
More.
things. And,
I come here.
But other than
Where
that, I
did
don't
you
know.
think that you said that he was buried? Beside the bridge, was it?
well, not buried. I thought he was found. I don't know. I'm not,
Yeah.
I thought it was a silent.
Yeah, well,
place, I don't-
the woman, I'm just going to turn around this and show that we're not ignoring chat. There's about 11 people watching.
Yeah.
When the medium woman, just walk your far as escape before, and then I'll continue. When the medium she was stood beside this gate here, and she looked up these fields here.
Right.
She stood in these gates, and she says there's a possibility that his body could have been switched 2 or 3 times in this location, Captain Nairac. Stood here on this bridge, and she says this is the bridge where Captain Nairac was tortured, and he was beaten to a pulp, and he was shot once in the head. They were going to give him 2 bullets, but they only gave him 1. So they dragged his body up into that area here, and they buried him here. And she was able to connect with the spirit of Captain Nairac, and says they left it till he was buried in the summer,
Right.
and they transferred his body to the winter, and then they brought him up here to the Ravensdale Wood. Now, she showed me where the location where he's buried, but Sean Walters told me that he was buried in the bridge. There's another big stone bridge in it,
Up there.
yeah, in the middle of the wood.
Right.
And the story goes that Sean Walters says that when they were building the bridge back in them times,
Yes.
that the young lads dragged Captain Nairac's body into the wood and buried him into the bridge. That was another story. Another story goes that he was in a meat grinder and they chopped him up and blah blah blah. But this woman did an investigation here. She stood on this bridge here. She was able to communicate with Captain Nairac, and Captain Nairac says, I'll show you where I'm buried. So what I want to do is, because this is all new evidence, before all the development
She
starts.
said he was initially there and then ended up in the
Up in there, yeah.
wood. Oh.
No, he's actually at the bottom half of the wood,
Oh.
beside the road.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the people here this is the bridge where Captain Nairac was shot and murdered. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick spirit box session here. See, can I communicate with him? She doesn't need the equipment to communicate with the spirits. She can actually.
Can you do that yourself?
I can do that as myself, but I'm just going to do it for a couple of seconds here,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to keep the light going, and I'm going to walk the woods where she said where he's buried.
Fabulous.
Now she did go into the guard station, and she gave her evidence, and she told the guard she called it, this is where he's buried. So now it's in their hands to see whether they dig it up. So just in case you ever see this car here in another
You're
winter,
welcome anytime.
if you
You're
ever see this
welcome
car here,
anytime.
it's only myself and Caroline that will be coming
I know,
here.
No, I thought you were taking photographs of the trees. People
Oh, yes,
love to
yes, yes.
photograph the trees. They're so beautiful.
So you'll be okay if myself and Caroline come
Not
back here
at all. You're
and
very welcome anytime.
no bother, fair play. to you.
Listen, you enjoy your holiday.
No bother. Thanks very
Okay.
much, and appreciate it.
You're
Thank you
welcome
very much.
anytime.
No
So
bother.
I'll chat to you again.
No bother. Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself.
So let's get back to it. So it's going to show you the bridge, and we're going to show you quick, and let's do one quick spirit box session here. I would not be here today. I will be actually with Caroline only for Samantha Life After Life TV sent me St. Anne reads the video, and I watched it a good few times. This is the gate where this lady was standing in question. This is where she looked up the field here. and this is where she was here like this. She showed all these videos here. I'm just going to go over her footsteps, and this is the bridge where Captain Nairac was supposed to be beaten to a pulp, and her correspondence with Captain Nairac, she was able to speak to Captain Nairac in her investigation, and Captain Nairac was able to tell her that he was shot once in the head, and when Captain Nairac was murdered, beaten, he was supposed to be buried maybe once or maybe twice, somewhere in around them farmers in 2 different locations, and then the winter came, he was brought up to the Ravensdale Wood. So let's go back here, and I'm going to try and show you as much as I can. I need to go home to Caroline. I would not be out here today only for Samantha. Life After Life TV sent this, and I said I could not pass this out before if this story does get out of hand and the seal off the area and start looking for his body. That is the bridge. That is the bridge where Captain Nairac was supposed to be murdered and shot in the head and brought his body up to Ravensdale Wood. But I have a question. I have one question in relation to this investigator, and I'm going to turn this around before we start moving it. And just one question. You all might agree what I'm going to say. Let's flick this back. So let's turn this back and let's move into it. My question is Life After Life TV there? And we have, is Caroline there? Is Caroline there? Just let me know, Caroline, if you're there. I just want to, I have a question to everybody. You all might agree what I'm going to say next. Just, Anne, is Anne Reid's there? Let me know if Anne Reid's is there. Let me know if Gilligan there, and let me know if Life After Life TV is there. So Anne Reid is there. And yes. So my question is to Anne Reid's, Caroline, Samantha from Life After Life TV. Are you there as well? Just let me know, Samantha, are you there as well? Caroline is almost called ye to go myself. I'm sick. Caroline, I almost called ye to go myself. So this is my question to you guys, okay? And Gilligan's there as well. So my question is to Life After Life TV, Gilligan, Caroline, and Anne Reid's. My question is, okay, we watched this video. Caroline didn't watch this video yet. This was a medium woman. I don't know her name. She may or she may not be watching this right now. My question is to you. Fair play to you. You have the bridge 100% right. This is the bridge that Captain Nairac was shot dead and tortured. You got that 100% right, because I met an old man in his 80s and he says, yes, that is the bridge. Number two, I explained the situation to this old man where this woman pinpointed the location where Captain Nairac was killed and buried. This is the place where he was killed. I told the old man in his 80s that this woman came here 3 weeks ago and did her own paranormal investigation. Without any of these devices, she was able to speak to Captain Nairac on this bridge, and Captain Nairac brought her to the location where he's buried. I didn't even have to point to the area of the wood where she says Captain Nairac was buried. He showed me himself, and he knew nothing about it. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not even going to speak. He knew exactly where Captain Nairac was buried. And he said, and his response was, well, it's about time, I suppose, that he made his way home. He told me that before I came here. He told me, yes, that is where he's buried. And you know, Ireland, the myths that go that he was in a meat grinder, what a load of horseshit. I actually really felt it in my heart and soul that he was buried in the bridge in the middle of Ravensdale Wood. If there's people watching back this now, I actually really thought that he was buried in the bridge. But this woman that travelled and did her own paranormal investigation here said no, he was buried up. Samantha, Life After Life TV, Samantha, do you remember where Martin walked into the tree and banged his head? Do you remember that one? Remember that video where Martin walked into the tree and banged his head? He nearly knocked himself out. It's right beside that location, and we're going to walk that before we finish, and I'm going to do a spirit box session in where she said the body is located. So that is where. So let's do a spirit box session. Before I do a spirit box session here on the bridge and go into the woods to where the location where she says he is buried, and the old man down the street says that is where he's buried. Can you answer me one question, the people who are watching this now? If she was so spot on with this, can you answer me one question? Why didn't this woman pick up on the 2 spirits of the young boys that were murdered in the car park? She had to walk through that car park to get to that location. If she was so powerful, Why didn't you pick up on the two young lads that were murdered in the car park? Why didn't you pick up on the two young boys who were murdered in the car park as well? And why didn't you pick up on the spirit of the Ravensdale gamekeeper who hung himself in the house? And why didn't you pick up on the family that were burnt in the house as well? Because if you are saying who you are and you have this gift, you would not ignore the spirit that would come around you. Yes, you might have this nailed 100% off Captain Nairac. Maybe I haven't. People have to come and dig this area. This could happen any day now. And if Captain Nairac's body is to be found at this location, well, it's time to set him free. I agree in that. Yes, he was an evil cunt and what he did was wrong. But if his body is to be recovered, well, that's another story itself. But I'd like to get here before that does. But my question is to you, if you are watching, if you're open to this world and you're open to spirits coming to you, surely if a spirit of two young boys were murdered in that car park and you walked through that car park, surely you wouldn't ignore the spirits that were murdered in that car park and all the souls that were murdered in that Ravensdale Wood. Surely you opened up to it. You might let us know. If you want to meet me and Caroline in person, this is a message directly to the woman that did our investigation. If you want to meet myself and Caroline in person here, we would love and walk you through the area in question that we like to show you, all the places that people have been murdered here in the Ravensdale. There's not just one. Captain Nairac, name is Robert, there's only one. There's many more people and souls that have lost their lives here in Ravensdale Wood. So my question to you, this paranormal investigator who has been here, that doesn't need all this equipment that we have, my question is to you, did you pick up on the rest of these spirits that were murdered here in Ravensdale Wood? And I will give you an invitation for myself and Caroline to walk you through these locations and see, can you help these poor souls cross over? Because we're only paranormal investigators researching in evidence in the afterlife and to prove to people there is an afterlife. And we would like somebody to come here and help these poor souls who have died here, to help them cross over. That's my invitation to you. Is surely you would have picked it up, and when you did your video here 3 weeks ago, surely you should have picked up some of them spirits here. And why did you not add that to your video? Because you should have done. That's my question to you. But I am going to do a spirit box session on the bridge here where Captain Nairac was supposed to be murdered. And let's see, do we pick up on Captain Nairac? If we pick up on him, we do. And if we don't, we don't. But this lady in person was able to speak to Captain Nairac. And Captain Nairac was able to bring her to every stage of what happened. He was able to tell me there was 4 people here. And he was able to tell me there was even a man dressed as a priest trying to get him to admit what he did. Caroline, she probably did, but never mentioned it. You might be right, Caroline. She probably did come across the poor creatures. But I believe she was forced in the case in hand. So let's do one spirit box session here. Let's see, can we speak to Captain Nairac himself? And let's walk through around the bridge. Let's see what we can pick up here. Not going to spend too long on it. I'm going to walk to this bridge here. We're going to walk this bridge. See, can we get the spirit of Captain Nairac to come forward on this bridge? So we're looking for no other spirits to come forward, only Captain Nairac named Robert. Let's do one session here. Let's keep the live going to the car park, and let's walk to the area where she says where he's buried. So let's do it here. So earphones in, guys. We won't be too long at this. So let's walk to the bridge. I'm going to turn the camera in the location where she said he was murdered. So let's turn around the camera. So this is the bridge where Captain Nairac was brought, beaten to a pulp. This is the story goes now. New evidence that Captain Nairac himself Ashley ringing. Will you tell Ashley stop ringing the phone? Ashley is ringing my phone. Will you tell Ashley stop ringing my phone, Caroline? Because that's how